Mataji last weekend.
Okay.
We heard all how it happened and all went well.
Yeah. Okay. Om Agyantimirandhagyananjana Chakshurunmiltam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupakatham Mahim Dasti Swapadantikam. Vandeham Shri Gushita Padakamalan Shri Gurun Vaishnavam Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathan Tam Sachivam Sadvaitam Savadtam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishaka Anvitamscha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna. Reading from Prabhupāda-līlāmṛta, Volume 2, Chapter 51. Chant Hare Krishna and fight. Bombay, January 9, 1977. Śrīla Prabhupada started his morning walk before dawn. He and devotees knew their way well through Hare Krishna land to the public road, and once off the property, they turned left, then right, and began walking down the block leading to the beach. At first, they could not visibly distinguish land from sea from sky, but gradually subtle nuance of color revealed the horizon, and then could see the vast plain of Arabian Sea stretching to meet the even greater sea of sky, where last stars twinkled and faded. As Prabhupada and his small group walked along the broad beach, they were flanked on their left by a line of leaning palms and on their right by a rumbling surf. Srila Prabhupada wore a grey woolen chadar around his shoulders, a saffron silk kurta and dhoti, and a peach-colored canvas shoes. He used a cane, leaning not heavily on it but lightly. With each brisk step, he would point the cane ahead, poking it into the sand and lifting it again, rhythmically marking the pace. He walked erectly and held his head high. A long line of Bombayites, many of them wealthy Juhu residents on their morning stroll, appeared, and a few coconut wallahs set up their carts, cutting off the tops of choice coconuts in anticipation of their first customers. Srila Prabhupada liked to walk at the time of the morning, and weather permitting, he would do so no matter where he was in the world. Juhu Beach, however, was one of his favorite places to walk. Along the way, he and his disciples were joined by Dr. Patel in white shirt and pants and several of his friends, mostly doctors and lawyers. Srila Prabhupada had been silent, but now he began to speak. How everything is nice, Srila Prabhupada commented, gesturing toward the beach before him. See the sky, how clear and how nice by Krishna. Purnam idam. With his cane, he indicated the tall, graceful palm trees. The tree is called Vriksha. He said the Vriksha, Yoni, or birth as a tree is condemned. By Krishna's arrangement, however, the Vrikshas are also so nicely set up, it becomes beautiful. They are all representatives of Krishna, said Dr. Patel. This is perfect. Purnam, said Srila Prabhupada, quoting Ishopanishad. Purnamidam Purnamada. Just as the rising sun illumines everything, Srila Prabhupada discoursed, speaking against the atheistic notion that the complex material creation has no creator. God's creation, said Prabhupada, is perfect and complete because it comes from Him who is Purnam, perfect and complete. Andantarastha Paramanu Chayantam Gobindam Adi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami. Paramanu means smaller than the atom. 6 Paramanus, that is atomic dimension, You combine six Paramanus so that Paramanu also is Lord. Also the Lord is there. Sorry. So in that Paramanu also the Lord is there. He made it, said Dr. Patel. And then he entered into it. That is what the Vedas say. Yes, Prabhupada said. The Paramatma is there. The whole human life is meant for understanding all this and glorify God. And they are wasting their lives by imitating the hog. Prabhupada again fell silent, except for softly uttering the Hare Krishna mantra. Now the beach was light, and many people out on their morning walks or runs greeted Srila Prabhupada as they passed. The greetings were always words of respect or at least good morning, and Srila Prabhupada's response was usually Hare Krishna. Suddenly, Prabhupada again began to speak. There's a very big conspiracy against us. By the church? Guest, not by the church, said Prabhupada. By the society? Prabhupada uttered a thoughtful then again added, now they are determined to cut down this movement. He didn't give any details, and neither Dr. Patel nor others fully draw out what was on his mind. Whatever it was, said Dr. Patel, no conspiracy against consciousness could take place in India. I wanted to start this movement in India. Prabhupada replied, I requested so many friends, give me just one son, but nobody agreed. They said, Swamiji, what will be the benefit by this if I make my son a Vaishnava or a Brahmana? Not give much importance to the movement. They are planning how to stop this movement in so many ways. Always a faithful Indophile. Dr. Patel replied, the Americans are like that, always making propaganda. Let me know if you can not hear me. There is good and bad in every place, said Prabhupada. Krishna says, Manushanam Sahasreshu. Of thousands of persons, hardly anyone is interested in performing his life. This is Kali Yuga. They walked on, and Srila Prabhupada said no more about it, speaking instead of materialistic household life in which the chief pleasure is sex. Beyond this abominable sex pleasure, he said, was the full satisfaction of spiritual life. Prabhupada walked for half an hour and then turned around and began walking back, wanting to return to the temple by 7 just in time to greet the deities. Some of others were flagging from the brisk pace, but Srila Prabhupada strode on, his golden-hued face trumpet in self-realization. Prabhupada began talking about the importance of satsanga, association with devotees, and Dr. Patel quipped, instead of doing satsanga, people go to Kumbh Mela. He left. He laughed as if it were a joke, good joke. But Prabhupada corrected him. No, he said, Kumbh Mela is satsang. If you go to Kumbh Mela to find a man of knowledge, then your Kumbh Mela is right. Otherwise, yatirtha buddhi salilena karhichit sa eva gokara. If one thinks that this salila, the water that just to take bath in the water is Kumbh Mela, then he is a gokara, a cow or a ass. But if he thinks now there is an assembly of so many saintly persons, let me take advantage of their knowledge, then he is intelligent. Ever since Srila Prabhupada had arrived in Bombay, he had been questioned about the upcoming Kumbh Mela at Allahabad. The Magha Mela occurred every year, but according to astrological calculation, a more auspicious occasion came every 12 years, Kumbh Mela. And every 12 years, Kumbh Mela, an event that occurred only once in 144 years, was especially auspicious. This year, 1977, was to be such a Mela, and the government was predicting an attendance of 12 million at the confluence of the holy rivers near Allahabad. Srila Prabhupada had said he would go. So, sir, said Dr. Patel, you are going by train to Kumbh Mela? Srila Prabhupada replied that he liked the train, but Dr. Patel said it was good for health and that it would be a very long ordeal. He also warned Prabhupada that Allahabad would be very cold, and if he had to leave the Mela early, he would find it very difficult because of the crowds. I'll get one of my friends to get me some water from Allahabad on that day. Loved by Dr. Patel. I'll take my bath here. Dr. Patel's friend also mentioned the difficulties of extreme weather and crowds at Allahabad during the Mela. Srila Prabhupada, however, was not swayed. He was well acquainted with Allahabad, having lived there with his family from 1920 to 36. In 1925, said Prabhupada, I went to the Mela. I remember I was touching the water and it was so pinching that it was cutting body. But as soon as you actually get a dip, one, two, three, then you immediately come out and it is all right. Prabhupada mentioned the 1928 Mela when he was carrying his young child. I was in the midst of the crowd. He recalled. It was so big that I was afraid that if there was any rush, this child might be finished. But by the grace of Krishna, nothing happened. What is the reason for the Mela? Asked Prabhupada's servant Harisauri. Is it something about some drops of nectar from Mohini Murti? It is actually a religious conference. Prabhupada replied, all the different groups gather in that holy place and they propagate their philosophy there. India is a country of religion. They know spiritual life is more important than his material life. This material life, that is India. Now they are diverting their attention to the material. Otherwise, the whole of India is for spiritual life. About 5 minutes before 7, Srila Prabhupada left the beach and walked back into the Hare Krishna land. As he approached, he saw the massive two-story towers of ISKCON Hotel and even taller and grander temple domes. The buildings, however, was unfinished. The temple domes had to be covered with marble and all the buildings needed numerous finishing touches. Prabhupada was anxiously anticipating the opening, but Shurabhi Maharaj spoke of the delays. The opening day, therefore, remained indefinite. Delays had been routine ever since Prabhupada had first tried to purchase the Juhu land from Mr. N in 1971, and obstacles had plagued all his attempts to build. Now, the triumph of installing the deities of Radha Rasbihari in one of the most gorgeous temples in India was near. Radha Rasbihari were still being worshipped in the temporary shelter of devotees had erected. The shelter the devotees had erected in 1971. But as Prabhupada approached, he could see the magnificent temple structure looming behind the humble shed, proclaiming that soon Rasbihari would move into his palace. Krishna was blessing the faithful work of Srila Prabhupada and his disciples in Bombay. Although Srila Prabhupada was always traveling, pushing his movement ahead on all fronts, he would regularly return to Bombay. He, more clearly than his disciples, could see when the workers were delaying or even cheating. This time, as before, he would stay for a while, give advice, and then move on. On returning to the ISKCON property, Srila Prabhupada came before the deities and beheld once again and the charming beauty that made him sometimes indicate that of all deities, these were the dearest to him. His promise to Radha Rasbihari that he would build them a beautiful temple was soon to become a living reality, but he sometimes expressed doubt as to whether he would live to see it. He was now 81 and was bothered by certain persistent illnesses. Of course, the warnings of death were nothing new to Srila Prabhupada, as he had been bouts with illness beginning of his preaching in the West 1965. Yet, despite his frequent remarks about retiring, his disciples found it difficult to imagine. Yet, there should be should yet they should by all means complete the work as soon as possible and open the Bombay temple. And yes, they should assure Prabhupada that he could retire and eventually complete his Srimad Bhagavatam. But of course, Krishna would allow him to remain with them and see the completion of at least these two projects. Each month, one of Srila Prabhupada's GBC men stayed with him to serve as his secretary and to direct training and personal association. The secretary for January 1977 was Rameshwara Swami. Srila Prabhupada was genuinely pleased and enlivened when early in the morning Rameshwara entered his room, having flown straight from Los Angeles to Bombay. Prabhupada considered Rameshwara an expert ISKCON manager, especially in printing and distributing Krishna conscious literature, which was Prabhupada's priority in preaching. Rameshwara's Swami inquiry as a humble servant being before his spiritual master. Srila Prabhupada, he said, you look well. Are you feeling well? Srila Prabhupada laughed. At the present moment, I am feeling well because you are here. Within moments, they were discussing ISKCON preaching and management, and Prabhupada advised Rameshwar that the best policy was to use money for printing more books. As soon as money accumulated, Prabhupada warned it would be taxed and would cause headaches. Better to immediately spend it for printing books. Print books and sell and spend, said Srila Prabhupada. Follow this principle and distribute these books. That is our main thing. Somehow or other, we must take our books door to door and distribute. Then our preaching is successful. Anyone who will read will get some benefit, that is sure, because no other such literature is available throughout the whole world, and it is new revolution to the people in general. When Srila Prabhupada asked for news of ISKCON's activities in the West, Rameshwara gave the latest details of how Krishna consciousness movement in America was being attacked in the courts and press as a psychologically dangerous, brainwashing cult. Srila Prabhupada was already aware of this. It was, in fact, the conspiracy he had referred to on his morning walk. An anti-cult movement was now aggressively active and lumping the Hare Krishna movement in with other new movements. Srila Prabhupada was well aware of the deprogrammers, kidnapping of devotees, and intensely coercing them, and he had shown that he was not intimidated by the attack. He assured the devotees that Krishna would protect them and that the outcome would ultimately be in their favor. The most significant battle, one that had concerned Srila Prabhupada for several months, was a legal case in the New York where the temple president Adi Keshava Swami was being charged with employing mind control to keep the devotees in the temple. The parents of two adult devotees had pressed charges after hired deprogramming programmers have failed to break the two devotees' determination for Krishna consciousness. In a spirit of anti-cult crusade, an assistant attorney general was prosecuting using all legal and governmental facilities at his disposal. Although civil libertarians were outraged and assured the devotees that the opposition could never win, the implications of the case were fearful nevertheless. The case challenged the very right of the Hare Krishna movement to exist as a bona fide religion and challenged the right of adult devotees to remain in the movement against the wishes of their parents. Also at issue was whether members of the Hare Krishna movement were members by their own choosing or were being kept in the movement by psychological manipulation, brainwashing. When Srila Prabhupada had first heard of this case, his reply in a letter, clarion call to battle against the forces of illusion. Regarding the point about whether our movement is bona fide, you can use the following arguments. Bhagavad Gita has got so many editions. Our book older than the Bible. In India, there are millions of Krishna temples. Let the judges and juries read our books and take the opinion of learned scholars and professors. Regarding the second point about the parents' jurisdiction over their children, here are some suggestions. Do the parents like that their children become hippies? Why don't they stop it? Do the parents like their children become involved in prostitution and intoxication? Why don't they stop this? They are now feeling the weight of this movement. Formerly, they thought these people come and go, but now they see we are staying, and now we have set fire. It will go on. It cannot be stopped. You can bring big fire brigades, but the fire will act. The brainwash books are already there. Even if they stop externally, internally it will go on. Our first class campaign is book distribution. Go house to house. The real fighting is now. Krishna will give you all protection. So chant Hare Krishna and fight. Sitting with Srila Prabhupada in Bombay, Rameshwara Swami informed him that a nationwide committee of professors and theologians had come to the defense of Krishna consciousness in the New York case and that many lawyers and psychologists were sympathetic. It is so much mercy from Krishna, said Srila Prabhupada. Krishna wanted all these things to happen. Krishna himself became important when he killed so many demons, not simply by lying down in the lap of Mother Yashoda. When he was on the lap of Mother Yashoda from the day he began to kill. Therefore, Krishna established that he was Supreme Personality of Godhead. So even Krishna was not exempted. What to speak of us? Prahlad Maharaj was not exempted. As soon as you speak of God, this opposition will come. Jesus Christ was crucified. They are so kind that they have not crucified me or my men. But you have to expect all these things. Nityananda Prabhu was personally injured. Haridas Thakur was beaten in 21 bazaars. This task is like that. They are getting everyone in America to ask the question, what is Hare Krishna? Said Rameshwar. This is our gain. Sorry, that is our gain, said Srila Prabhupada. They are chanting Hare Krishna. We still have to work very hard to defeat them. Rameshwar added. Oh, yes, said Prabhupada. That is necessary. You don't sleep. Never did Krishna say to Arjuna, I am your friend. I am God. You sleep here. I'll be everywhere. No, you must fight. That is wanted. Krishna said, you fight and remember me. Then I'll do everything. This is an opportunity of remembering Krishna always. Prabhupada explained that the greatest shock for the materialists was that the Krishna consciousness movement strongly opposed illicit sex, meat eating, and intoxication. To them, for a person to give up these things was so shocking that they could not accept it was happening because of a genuine spiritual experience. Referring to a previous case, Prabhupada said, in Germany, they also accuse that the old man is sitting in Los Angeles and he has engaged all these boys in collecting money for him. They are thinking that way, that I have some mind control power and I have engaged these men. They are getting the money and I am enjoying. Srila Prabhupada recalled how, as early as 1969, when his temple in Los Angeles had purchased a few cars and the number of devotees had begun increasing, the neighbors had become envious. Said that he had invited them to ask also come and their Krishna consciousness community, but that reply had always been no. Prabhupada said that the more the opposition created turmoil, the more Krishna consciousness would become famous. He also reasoned that people were reacting to his very strong preaching. I condemned everyone, he said, that they are all dogs and hogs, and the United Nations I called a pack of barking bugs. It's act. And in Chicago, I said, all women, you cannot have freedom. So I became a subject of great criticism. Srila Prabhupada concluded his meeting with Rameshwar by saying that the devotees should be very alert and intelligently defend the Krishna consciousness movement, but they should also understand that a higher principle was operating. This opposition indicated the genuineness of his con. Even Krishna himself was sometimes the center of calamitous activities, such as when he fought with Kalia and other enemies, or when an infant he fell into Yamuna river. This is the beauty of Vrindavan, said Prabhupada. When Krishna entered the Yamuna to fight with Kalia, it was not at all good news for Mother Yashoda, Nanda, the friends and families. Not at all. Their life was lost, but still Krishna was the center. This is Vrindavan. In everything, Krishna is in the center. So our situation is just like that. They are making bad propaganda against Krishna. This is the opposition. But I am happy that Krishna is in the center. That's all. This is the beauty of this moment. Although we are put into some difficulty, yet the center is Krishna. Srila Prabhupada wanted to travel with a group of his disciples by train to Allahabad. But when a devotee went to buy tickets, he discovered that all seats had long been purchased. There was no chance of making reservations for Allahabad so close to Kumbh Mela. So, one of Srila Prabhupada's Bombay friend, however, as Mr. Gupta, held a high position with the Central Railway of India and at Prabhupada's request arranged for a special private car on a train to Allahabad exclusively for Prabhupada and his disciples. Early on the morning of January 11, Srila Prabhupada embarked on the 24-hour plus train ride from Bombay to Allahabad. He was sharing his first class compartment with Rameshwara Swami, Jagadish, and Harida Shauri, and even as the train pulled out of the station, Prabhupada was preaching. Rameshwar mentioned a radio show he had recently been on in California, where a Lutheran minister had said Krishna was a sex symbol because he had so many wives and gopis. Even taking it that Krishna is after sex, said Srila Prabhupada, then if sex is bad, why are they after sex? He says that sex is not good. not for God, Rameshwar replied. Srila Prabhupada was sitting on one side of the compartment and his disciples sat facing him. The loud rattling of the train cars on the rails made conversation sometimes difficult. If sex is not there in God, said Prabhupada, then how has he come? God created everything. So God did not create sex. So God did not create sex. Srila Prabhupada explained that sex exists both in the material world and the spiritual world. Material sex, enjoyment being a perversion of the original pure sex that exists in the spirit in the Supreme. Krishna's sexual enjoyment, therefore, is not at all like the material sex. It is the exact opposite. In fact, in as much as the reality is the opposite of its reflection. You do not understand how to face the said Srila Prabhupada. He was in an animated, argumentative mood, enthusiastic to show his disciples how to defeat the opposition. Sometimes described his own spiritual master as Simha, lion, Guru, and they now saw him in a similar spirit. The more opposition there will be, he said, the more we have to defend. Srila Prabhupada Rameshwar asked, should we be thinking in our minds that one day the Krishna consciousness movement will have to manage the seas and the nations of the world? Oh, yes, Prabhupada replied. Rameshwar asked how the devotees could accomplish such a huge, ambitious project. The management would be simplified, Prabhupada explained, since the citizens would live a pure natural life. Thus, the burdensome, sinful aspects of godless government would become unnecessary and so many complex problems would be solved. He gave the example of self sufficient agrarian communities where men earn their livelihood locally, but only by education and by experiencing the higher taste of Krishna conscious pleasure, he said, could the masses become satisfied with simple living. Rameshwar asked if America would become Krishna conscious by a minority of Krishna conscious persons becoming powerful in government while the masses remain as karmis. No, Prabhupada replied. You can introduce Krishna consciousness in such a way that they will become devotees. Suppose in big factories we shall introduce this prasadam distribution and chanting. They will immediately become devotees. Their hearts will be cleansed. Cheto darpanamarjanam. But will it be like Russia pursued Rameshwara, where there is only a small group of people who are in control? No, it is not like that. The quality of people will be changed. So that means only when the whole mass of people population becomes Krishna conscious, Rameshwar suggested, then there will be Krishna conscious government. No, Prabhupada corrected. You have government when you are in minority. But when the mass of people on account of this quality, they have to see example. In one sense, these were not immediate concerns. How the devotees would manage the whole world, since the devotees' political influence was at present insignificant. But by answering these questions, Prabhupada was establishing future goals and tactics for Krishna consciousness movement. Rameshwar Swami, as both a practical manager and a visionary, wanted to know exactly how Srila Prabhupada saw the Krishna conscious world of the future. Srila Prabhupada had the answers, but he indicated that social or political management would be done not by any new formalities but by pure Krishna consciousness. By changing the hearts of the people through chanting, hearing, studying scriptures, and then organizing things on the basis of basic principles of Krishna consciousness. As the train as the train passed beyond the heavily populated Bombay area and entered the countryside, Srila Prabhupada looked out the window, appreciating the scenery. We have come to the open, he said. How it is nice. And as long as we were passing through the congested areas, hellish, simply hellish. Now here is open space. How it is nice. Entering into a city is so imposing on your consciousness, said Harishauri. Yes, Prabhupada said. At that point, it is simply rubbish. All papers thrown here and there, and people living in hellish conditions. Now see here how it is open and pleasing. So organize these farm projects. When Rameshwar pointed out that the beginning of a community require a great deal of capital, Prabhupada simply replied that the devotee should show the example and that others would automatically follow the successful pattern. Rameshwara mentioned that in America, although the ISKCON temple presidents were eager to get as many people to join as possible, they found that most people were unable to come up to the required standard. Therefore, perform, Prabhupada said. They have to encourage to have a little bit of Krishna consciousness in their own life. Rameshwar suggested make their home a temple. Prabhupada disagreed. No, let them go to the farm, New Vrindavan. If the people were disinclined to the austerity, he said, then let them come to the farm with their wife and children and live comfortably in their own house. And on the farms, they would find plenty of employment. More and more, Prabhupada said, people would become jobless and would be obliged to take shelter of a Krishna conscious farm community. So we can expect, said Harishauri, that material conditions are going to become very much worse than at present. Hmm. At present, they may come or not, said Prabhupada. We don't care. Let us establish an ideal society. Although Prabhupada had left Bombay without taking breakfast, he continued speaking for 4 hours and then asked Harishauri to serve lunch. The other devotees left the compartment. Harishauri carried all the Prabhupada's personal effects in two small shoulder bags, one with 3 changes of clothing, the other with Prabhupada's plate, bowl, spoon, tiffin, tilak, and mirror. We just traveled. Although he was the head of a wealthy international movement, he kept nothing for himself and traveled light. Whatever donations he collected, whatever profits came from the sale of his books, whatever properties he owned, everything was in the name of ISKCON. And yet, when it came time to eat in the middle of that dusty train ride, his servant was able to produce silver bowls and a tray and an elegant vegetarian feast. Although Prabhupada kept nothing for himself, by Krishna's arrangement, he was well provided for. Srila Prabhupada sat cross-legged on the train seat and pointed to what he wanted from the stainless steel tiffin compartments his servant placed before him. There were sabjis, puris, fruits, and sweets. After Srila Prabhupada chose what he wanted and began to eat, he insisted that Harishauri also take prasadam. When they finished, Harishauri distributed the remnants of Prabhupada's meal to the other devotees, and Prabhupada lay down to rest. In the afternoon, more devotees gathered in Prabhupada's small compartment, and he continued preaching, mostly in reply to points Rameshwar Swami raised. In regard to brainwashing, said Rameshwara, they claim that our lifestyle tends to take the devotee and isolate him from the world. Yes, said Prabhupada, we hate to mix with you. No gentleman tries to mix with loafers. Crows will like to live with the ducks and white swans will live with the crows. That is natural division. Birds of the same feathers flock together. They have a list of 5 or 6 conditions, and they say if all these conditions are present, then it is suitable atmosphere for brainwashing. They say we are imposing these conditions on our members. Prabhupada, yes, we are brainwashing from bad to good. That is our business. We are washing the brain all rascaldom. Your brain is filled up with all rubbish things: meat eating, illicit sex, gambling. So we are washing them. Sheto Darpana Marjanam. Shunva Tam Swakata Krishna Punya Shravana Kirtana Hrit Antarasto Abhadrani. Abhadrani means bad things. So the bad things should be washed. Don't you cleanse your home? Don't you cleanse your room? Is the brainstorming? So if you wash your room very clean, who blames you? But you are so rascal that you charge us. Why are you washing away this garbage? We are washing out the garbage and you are protesting. This is your intelligence, but intelligent men wash away garbage. That is the law of civilization to cleanse. That we are doing. According to the Vedic civilization, you are actually untouchable. Now we have come to touch you. Therefore, wash. First, you must wash. According to Indian civilization, the dog is untouchable, but he is your best friend, so you are untouchable. Therefore, we have to wash your brain. Unless your brain is washed, you cannot understand Krishna. Man is known by his company. You sleep with dog, you eat with dog, your best friend is dog, so what you are? You must be washed, scrubbed, Rameshwar. But this is their argument that the standard in America is that you become learned in different fields science, music, art, and literature. This standard of culture and education is coming from idea of renaissance in Europe. But in our Hare Krishna movement, we are isolating ourselves from these things and simply reading one set of literature, Krishna. Prabhupada, this other is not culture. As soon as you change, that means it is not culture. It is manodharma, mental concoction. Yes, we want to stop your nonsense. This is our mission. Those who are intelligent, they have taken, and you also take. Rameshwar raised the objection that Krishna conscious children are not prepared to go to the public schools and university, and Srila Prabhupada replied that they were being saved. But what if they want to change later in their life? Asked Rameshwar. They have become Krishna conscious from the very beginning. Prabhupada replied, this is the protection of life. They are perfect from the very beginning of their life, and you are going to school in the college, but you are becoming most uncivilized like cats and dogs, becoming naked and having sex on the street. So, what is the value of the education? Stop all these colleges and universities. As soon as they are stopped, it is better for human beings. Rameshwar, they say that if we claim our members are gentle, they then why is it that they go to the airport and bother so many people? Prabhupada, they are not bothering, they are educating. When a thief is advised, kindly do not become a thief, he takes it as a botheration, but it is good advice. Rameshwar, they say it is invasion of privacy. Every man has the right to think the way he wants. Prabhupada, yes, therefore I have got the right to think like this and sell books. Rameshwar, so if I do not want to hear your philosophy, why do you impose it? Prabhupada, it is not imposing, it is good philosophy. We are canvassing. Take it, you will be benefited. And they are being benefited. Those who are reading, they are being benefited. And why are you advertising big signboards? Please come and purchase. Why are you imposing your so calledness on us? Why are you doing? Back and forth the battle went, hour after hour. Rameshwar unleashing all the arguments against the Krishna consciousness movement, Srila Prabhupada defeating them. Prabhupada called the arguments childish and foolish, and he strongly criticized the materialistic demeanor from which they sprang. By Shastra and logic, he proved that the non devotee has no good qualities and is less than an animal because of his lack of God consciousness. Such a person, he said, was in a no position to criticize, and such criticism only showed ignorance of real purpose of human life. The train stopped in Manmad, Jalgaon, and Khandwa, as well as other small towns and junctions. And for Prabhupada and his disciples, the day passed quickly in discussion. Prabhupada was absorbed in defending the Krishna consciousness movement. He relished fighting on behalf of Lord Chaitanya. He was speaking, of course, mainly for the benefit of his disciples, but beyond that, he was expressing his compassion for all beings and his dedication to the Krishna consciousness movement. They are spending so much for military strength, Prabhupada continued. They are not performing yajna, so how will there be rainfall? There will be warfare, devastation. It is a most rubbish civilization. They are misleading everyone. Soul killing. It is the blind leading the blind. Even when there is difficulty, we have to do this as Krishna's business. Let the dogs bark on. We don't care if we remain sincere to Krishna. That is our victory. The external result is not so important. We have to act according to the direction of Krishna. Hare Krishna. I'll stop here. Haribol.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Yes, Prabhuji, was very wonderful discussion between Rameshwar Maharaj and
Very,
Prabhupada.
very live. Hmm.
Really. Yeah, got
Right.
a lot of answers.
Yeah, that is just one day of Prabhupada.
Yeah, and
Mhm.
hours and hours. Yeah, he discussed in the train.
Yeah,
It's wonderful.
yeah,
They take breakfast and they even
yeah.
after eating lunch prasadi again continued.
Continued. Yeah. This shows, yeah, how sharp is Prabhupada. Yeah. He could, yeah, it's not like he's speaking on the strength of only like, what Krishna said, what Vedas have said. No, he's just still saying on a practical note, right? What we are doing is right for the mankind. Yeah.
So, lovely. Thank you, Guruji.
Yeah. Hare Krishna. Thank you.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna, Mataji. Is
How are
it
you,
Varsanaliram
Prabhuji?
Mataji from
Yes,
Lindau? I
yes,
think
yes, ma. Yes, Prabhuji.
from
Hare
Lindau,
Krishna.
Germany. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, Prabhuji.
Nice to hear your voice. Yeah, after ages.
Yeah, yeah. It's been some time. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Hope you are doing
Prabhuji.
fine.
Yeah, Prabhuji. Yes, I am doing good.
Mhm.
And how are you, Prabhuji?
Yeah. Fine.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, Prabhuji. Thank you very much, Prabhuji, for this session once again. Yeah, as you were even discussing with God Bhagwan Prabhu about Prabhupada's this conversation. I just felt, I like the enthusiasm which Prabhupada had, that throughout the day he wanted to explain what Krishna conscious really is. So, yeah, that point I really liked, Prabhuji, that his enthusiasm, and he
Mm.
was just going on.
Yeah. Yeah. On one side, it might look like, okay, he's very passionately telling, but I think there is a very thin line here also, that Prabhupada is not just kind of enjoying the conversations. That is not the main focus, but he's actually want to mm, make Krishna consciousness movement very mature. Yeah, how to handle future. Yeah, this is what. So which means every moment it's not like, okay, yeah, it's like nice chit chat, or like, okay, you have now, hey, let's start a debate. It's not for entertainment that Prabhupada was encouraging all this, but he was making Rameshwar Maharaj prepared perfectly for future. That is so nice to see here. The responsibility of spiritual master.
Yes, Prabhuji. Yes. Yeah, he was making sure that everything is understood well, and he
Mm,
was taking that personal interest. When I was saying enthusiasm means he
right.
was so enthusiastic that yes, it's my responsibility, and he was in full enthusiasm. Ki, whatever time it is, however the day goes, he had that goal clear, and he
Yeah,
was
yeah,
delivering.
yeah, right. Yeah, very nice.
Yes, Prabhuji. Thank you so much, Prabhuji.
Yeah, thank you.
Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Anyone else want to share something? Someone else?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Yes, Prabhuji, I think you summarized it earlier. I think the way Prabhupada applies it to the, applies it, basically they say, presence of mind and being very practical instead of just saying this is what Veda says. I think that's always very, the energy and the, intelligence is always
Mm.
admirable. So I think it's very nice, Prabhuji.
Yeah,
Especially.
that's we can say perfection. Yeah, so
Yes.
yeah, so very sharp and very, yeah, a brainwash topic. Yeah, now we are enjoying it, but just imagine when such a great opposition was in US.
Yes, Prabhuji.
If it is, even if it is, you're coming from Tamil Nadu, right? So just imagine if such a situation we have to handle in US, no, sorry, in Tamil Nadu. Yeah, you don't know what to do, right? But Prabhupada is handling about a foreign country challenge. Yeah, and yeah, but he has prepared his disciples like that. Yes, yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah, boldly telling, but convincing that what we are doing is right. Not like, oh,
Absolutely.
no, it's not brainwash. Come on, they don't consider them. No, he's saying it's a brainwash. Yeah, yes, because your brain is dirty.
Absolutely, Prabhuji. In fact, there was a movie of Devanand, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna. Such a stupid movie, Prabhuji. Yeah. So the songs,
I didn't see that.
yeah, it was like I
Mm.
think in my childhood because it was a very nice Hare Rama, Hare Krishna will come in the song, Prabhuji, but then it was like all about drugs and other things. It's basically in the 1970s, I think the movie came, Prabhuji. 70s.
Yeah. Yeah, at the time they used to say that there was a cult, Hare Krishna cult, that was doing all these things.
So
Based
yes.
on that, they used to create something. I mean, I don't know,
No, that's true, Prabhuji.
but
Yes.
yeah.
Basically, so the point is like Prabhupada is creating a very positive narrative, and when there's such a negative narrative comes, I think the mindset it's very, very difficult to
Mm.
counter it, Prabhuji. One is like doing dharma, other one is like
Yeah,
counter.
but it also depends, right? So just imagine when Prabhupada wanted to establish temple in Bombay. Yeah,
Yes,
Prabhupada had a very good idea, good plan, good thought, and everything. But we see so much opposition, right?
yes,
Bollywood is, yeah, from where?
yes,
Bombay.
yes. And that
Yeah.
propaganda is even stronger, Prabhuji. That makes it even more, difficult.
I think I think we read somewhere, right? In this chapter that we read, now, people become envious. That is a big
Yeah,
problem.
yes, Prabhuji.
Yeah,
Yes,
the neighbors cannot digest if yeah, we become more prosperous.
yes, Prabhuji. Totally,
Just
Prabhuji.
imagine if ISKCON is buying few used cars,
Yes, Prabhuji.
people are thinking, yeah, because they see, hey, he is having nothing. How can he buy? And I having so much, I can't buy one car.
Yes, Prabhuji.
Huh? US is all about cars, no? At that time, that was the what do you call,
Automotive,
age
yes.
of automotive. Yeah,
Automotive revolution, Prabhuji. Yes, Prabhuji, that time. Yeah,
yeah.
before the technology revolution.
Mhm.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Yeah, Hare Krishna. Yeah, someone else. Makaran Prabhu, Ajay Prabhu, Adrasa Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. How are you, Prabhuji?
Yeah, I'm fine, thank you.
So tomorrow we will see Prabhuji all together.
Full package. Mm.
Yes.
Yeah, okay. Then thank you very much for joining in spite of a very, very hectic week. I suppose you might also had. I hope that this weekend can become more enlivening and relishing. Vanchakalpatarabhyasya कृपा सिंधुभ्येव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः. श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय. सत्स्वरूप गोस्वामी महाराज की जय. अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय. नामाचार्य श्री हरिदास ठाकुर की जय. जय गौर प्रेमानंद. हरे कृष्ण.
Hare Krishna.
हरे कृष्ण.
Hare Krishna.